first off, as most of you probably know, we had a serious injury. Kristen Abercrombie, one of our former players, in a game against Vanderbilt. He's at Tennessee State now. This game against Vanderbilt this weekend, suffered a serious injury. So our thoughts and prayers are definitely, with him and, of course, his family and their team as they go through this, this tough time. We all know that injuries are a big part of our game, but when it touches home like this, it's pretty tough. So, of course, he's still, you can leave a program and still be a big part of it. Of course, we have a lot of friends that are, and all of us are concerned, but keep your thoughts and prayers with them. This past week, bye week, of course, bye week's coming up. There's a lot of things you want to get accomplished on bye week. And for us, of course, recruiting was a big part of that. We had a chance to really get out and look at some of our commitments and just kind of look at, hopefully new members for our football team as we go forward. A productive week. It's also a productive week for us to kind of evaluate exactly where we are at this stage of our season, things we need to change up. We critiqued everything, personnel, scheme, all those things. So we feel like we have a good handle going into this Rutgers game. Injury-wise, of course, that was a big part of it too. So I feel like, hopefully we'll be able to get a few guys back. Of course, we're not going to talk about those guys yet, but we are getting players back, which should help us an awful lot. Rutgers had played, pretty good football this past week against Indiana. Close game, one-score game right up until the end. So I'm sure they're really excited about playing us. They, beat us here at home last year. We're really able to run the football against us, and just so of course we're pretty excited about playing and getting back on the football field this week. Take your question.
On Christian, have you reached out to the family? Or?
Absolutely, we've reached out to the family. Of course, with as I say, quite a few of our players still have close relationships, of course, with Kristen. Haven't, of course, been able to, we're getting secondhand information a little bit, as you can aware. There's a lot of other things on the family's mind right now, but don't know any more than what's been reported as much as anything. That, of course, serious injury, and he's hanging in there, and we're hoping things are going to work out okay.
How do you end up there at Tennessee State?
I think when players decide to go other places, they look around. You pick a school just like you pick a school the first time you come around.
Well, this is your first true road game coming up on Saturday.
Yes.
How do you prepare? You have a lot of new players on the roster. How do you prepare those players to get acclimated to that atmosphere?
Well, you're right. This is our first true game going on the road. We have a system, a plan for road games as much as anything. And besides changing uniforms, it's not a whole. We have the same routine that we go through, whether it's home or away. So that part doesn't change an awful lot. When you go on the road, there's a crowd that you're going to have to deal with, and but we'll be prepared for that. This isn't a new environment for some of our players, a lot of our players. So it's no more than that. Again, we've been there before. Their field's the same size, right? All those things, so none of that doesn't change that much.
Both these programs in year 3 with their head coach trying to make progress. What kind of similarities do you see between where you guys are at or on the field?
Well, I don't know. I just know about ours as much as anything. I know Chris. Their head football coach and I came in about the same time. And when you're building a program, there's some bumps along the road. There's a process that you go through. We're going through that process. I know if you just look at their record a little bit, of course, you always would like for the record to be better. So I just know what we're going through is a process as much as anything. You just keep building and staying true to what you believe. Chris Hass is a heck of a football coach. I know that. And it's a Big Ten football team, so that's where we are.
I know every week's important. You want to get a win every week, but as you have two programs kind of in similar stages, what do you think you guys can do?
Well, just like you said, every week's important. Last game was important. Did everything we could to possibly win it. same thing. We go in, it's always about us and how we play. So this is a game we need to, some of the mistakes we made, the improvements that we needed to make from our last game, we need to see that on the field this week. We talked about how we've gotten better, but how you really judge that is being able to get over the hump. We don't have a Big Ten win, and we need one in the worst way.
Lovie, you spoke pretty positively, in spite of the loss, about the performance against Penn State.
Yes.
What, though, has been the vibe of the team? You had to help them, were they feeling deflated, or did they sense that as a springboard to their preparation?
Our team was disappointed, which you would be, and you want them to be, after any loss that you have, period. But after loss or win, you critique how you played. And we've gotten better. We've made progress. I think to a man, we've made progress. So I think our players see that. Now it's about that next step of them taking, you keep setting the bar each week on exactly where you are. I think that's what our team is seeing. But we see that if we take care of some things, we can be a pretty good football team. So that's where we are. Penn State, we knew at the time they were a good football team, and I think that's, their last game kind of proved that a little bit. So that's where we are.
Okay, Jamal Wood's out for a little while. What have you seen about the depth options behind him that need to step up now?
Well, the depth is, when you lose first off, Jamal Woods was playing good football. You have to, do what's best for the team an awful lot. And that's what he's done. We played him at both the end positions, played the 3 technique. Seen him, he's a player that really improved a lot from spring practice, fall practices, and of course now. But again, injuries are a part of it. If he can't go, it'll be about the next guy. Eventually we should, guys like Jamal Milan should come back too. Larry Oladipo. So we have some other players, but if they can't go, it's the next guy up. Deion Pate, has been out for a while. He's back now. Tymir Oliver, Calvin Avery. Those players will need to step up.
Coach, what does this month mean to you guys? It feels like you have a couple tests here with Rutgers and Purdue and Maryland. Their teams are pretty similar to you guys, and a chance for you to show some progress.
Well, I just don't, for us, you just can't look too far ahead. We just know on your statement, we understand the challenge ahead of us this week. It's always tough when you go on the road. That'll be the case. 2 teams that feel like they have to have this game. That's what we're concentrating on as much as anything. And all of our thoughts are going into Rutgers, which we've been. After our last game, we got into that Rutgers mode then. So to get a chance to see them play this week, so it's just about this week for us. This is as big a game as we've had in a long time as we see it.
Going with that week-by-week mindset, does that fit into some bigger plan, though, that you have long-term for the program? Or?
This is what we have for the program, is to improve each week. And right now, the one thing that can help our program is to get a win against a Big Ten opponent this week. That's the best we can do right now to help our program. Everything else is kind of taking care of itself. We got a big donation to the facility. Facility, if you've seen it, the walls are coming up. So all those things are happening behind the scenes. What we need to take care of is getting a win on the football field. That's what we can do for our program. Recruiting is going well, but what I think what athletes want to see is improvement for us out there, and that's what we plan on doing.
What changes for Bennett, Nate, Lou, as they've had kind of a 2.5 weeks here with the team?
What changes for them is that once they were back in good graces with our team, we put them into the mix, just like everybody else. You start training camp, you have to work yourself in a position where you can help your team win. Do you have the right to help your team win by your play, and that's where they are. I think they all got a few reps last week, as much as anything, and we'll continue to evaluate them and see if they can get a bigger role.
You're getting a chance to critique your team through 4 weeks.
Yes.
Was there something that stood out to you that you see as maybe a good building block for the rest of the season?
I mean, there's a lot of, good things happening with our team. Offensively, we're scoring more points. We have an opportunity. We see what we can be. We've, had success passing the ball. Really have done a good job offensively running the football. We see where we can go from there. As a team, turnover ratio is something that you can lay your hat on a little bit on what we've done, taking the ball away on the defensive side. So there's a lot of good things happening behind the scene, but being able to put everything together, that's what it's about. And for us to play a full start to finish game that we can see positive things happening, that's what we haven't done, is that.
I guess on the flip side of that, was there something that stood out that you feel like you can maybe even get corrected?
So many.
For Saturday?
So many. So many. When you say you don't finish football games, that in itself kind of tells you an awful lot. I talk about what we've done good on the defensive side. Offensively, we need to be able to stop the run better. Last year, Rutgers beat us because they were able to run the football against us. We have to get that corrected as a team. We have to be able to play better run defense in order for us to take another step.
What specific improvements do you want to see with the run defense, just up front wise, and how big was the bye week in that regard in helping correct those issues?
When we say what, I think it's hard to just say one thing. As a general rule, when you talk about run defense, most of the time, if there's something you don't like, it's explosive plays, too many big plays. It comes down to that an awful lot. And in order for you to have big plays, a lot of times there are missed tackles that are happening. We're in position a lot of times, need to be able to make some of those. Like to see us tackle better. We can start with that.
Coach, how big was this bye week for getting A.J. Bush back and healthy and ready to go?
It's helping an awful lot. When you have a hamstring injury, everybody, you think when there's no pain that you're ready to go, and you're normally not. And you want players like A.J. Of course, A.J. is, when he heard it on a Saturday, right? He thought he was ready to go that next Sunday, the next day. But you have to hold those guys back. These weeks, though, have allowed him to heal up, and he stayed into it. So, again, it's just a matter of time before he'll be back out there.
Well, you added Keevan Myers to the group a
Yes.
couple weeks ago. What's it been like to get him on campus, and what's he going through right now?
Well, he's going through, Jeremy, typical first time on campus things, not going through any of the all season. I'm talking about summer workouts, training camp. He missed an awful lot. So just getting him acclimated into how we do things, a practice, class. You just think about all the first time things freshmen have to do. But that process has started. You have to get that underway, and that's what's happened. Now it's about getting him bigger, stronger, faster, just teaching him how we do things. And eventually he's going to be a good football player for us.
How much does Joey Bose play a role in kind of getting those freshmen ready? I know that Vidarian and Larry were both guys that need to lose a lot of weight, just like you.
Yeah. Now, I didn't say he needs to lose a lot of weight. Don't put that in mind. I did not say that, right? But the guys do need to get stronger. And Joey Bose does the rest of our strength staff does a great job. That is a part of, what you need to do when you first get here initially is that. And they're in the program right now. They're, like a sponge when you first get here. There's a lot you don't know. But, again, full speed ahead with that. We've already seen improvements from them. And normally when you haven't done a lot of lifting, you see major gains right away, and that's what we're seeing in all of our young players.
Lovie, the team historically doesn't have a winning record in games coming out of byes. Obviously, there's the benefit of recovery and evaluation and all that you've talked about. But is there a particular challenge of playing after 2 weeks of rest?
Well, I didn't know that, and to me that doesn't carry over. I think if you're banged up a little bit and you get a bye, that's got to be a good thing. I think if you have played a few games and you get a chance to evaluate some things that you've done, that's got to be a good thing. So I don't know what the history is. I wouldn't say that that's necessarily been our history, on teams that I've been with. And even if it had been, what we're planning on doing now is we've made improvements during that bye week, and we should see a better product. That's what we're going to go with.
Have you made some changes or a lot of changes between last game?
How to answer that, Bob? Some. How's that? Some. All right. And it's hard to say how many. Bob, each week we make changes. Sure. And we've had a longer period of time to look at some things. So there are some changes. I will say that. There are some changes. major. Got to be careful about saying major, but there are changes that we've made. Absolutely.
Anything else for Coach?
Thank you.